Welcome to the XDOG podcast, where our mission is to help dog owners extend the life of their dogs through nutrition, fitness, and education. I am your host, Stan Smith, CEO of XDOG, and whether you're looking for tips on how to improve your dog's overall health, get valuable training details, or insight on personal growth and business development, then you are in the right place. So march with us as we go heads up against your dog's number one enemy, canine obesity, and let's win this battle together. What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the XDOG podcast. And today we have a special guest, and his name goes by the name of Minion, and his owner, Amanda Caldron from Patriot Canine. They were both competitors on the America's Top Dog on A&E, which the finale is this week, and we are going to discuss that, her business, her lifestyle, and we're just going to continue to shoot the shit. So how's it going, Amanda? Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us. It's been real so far. So
Yeah.
enjoyed myself last night.
I think we all showed ourselves a little bit last night. It was kind of crazy. For those who didn't tune in on my Facebook page, we did a live down in Trinity Groves, and Minion was doing some crotch bites down there. Yeah. And it was fun. But let's talk about what got you into dog training. Where did it all start? Where did your passion come from?
I've always been a huge animal lover. I always wanted to have just about every animal you could think of, and being a military or family, we couldn't really have pets. We were constantly on the go, or we lived in military housing. So I ended up without a dog for many of the childhood years that I wanted one. And I eventually started just trying to play with other people's dogs and taking them for walks. And I'd been dragged many a times.
Yeah.
And been just playing with them, bathing them, that kind of thing. And then I really didn't know that there was a life in dog training, or a career in dog training. So naturally I went the field of, when I was old enough to get a job, I started at PetSmart, and then I got hooked into the dog sport kind of thing because I was invited out to a personal protection event. And I fell in love with it, and I took my first bite from a Rottweiler, and awesome. I fell in love, and I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. I didn't know civilians could do that kind of stuff. And but in the meanwhile, I'd worked for, other kennels. I was a kennel manager. I did a lot of cleaning up poop and kennel stuff. I was a dog bather and groomer for a while, and then I was a vet tech for 4.5 years. And I just, through my competitive field, I started getting inquiries for training, and I was like, nah, not me. Like, I respected the craft way too much. And I pointed others, elsewhere, and I worked for 2 other companies before I finally was like, I can do this on my own.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much in a nutshell.
and you've been training dogs for what, almost 2 decades now, right?
I don't know, since I was 15. So, yeah, it's been a minute.
And where the name Patriot Canine, where did that derive from?
So I knew I was never going to be one to go into the military. I respect those that serve. Both my parents did serve, were in the Marine Corps. And I loved the idea of being able to help in some way or another. And it actually, Patriot Canine started out as a breeding kennel. It was just for my Dutch Shepherds, and the goal was to, be able to donate and or sell dogs for law enforcement and military. And in doing that, that's how Patriot Canine arose. And through that entity, I just decided to keep with that and stay with that, and the whole No Dog Left Behind thing. So that's where the dog training came into, and now we provide an assortment of services.
Yeah, well, speak about those services. Like, if someone is to want to get their dog evaluated, what services do you guys offer over at Patriot Canine?
We do pretty much your basic obedience. Majority of our programs are board and train, but we do privates, we do group packages. But we specialize in behavior modification. We do a lot of aggression-based or anxiety-based behaviors.
Now, speak on that to the audience of what behavior modification means, because some people, like Logan, he won't know what behavior modification means.
Okay, so typically somebody comes in. Majority of families wait to the very
Until there's a problem.
yeah, until there's something drastic happening
Yeah,
in their life that goes, this is now a big concern, a big red flag that pops up. For anxiety-based dogs, it's usually, severe separation anxiety.
Yeah, I was gonna touch on that. So basically, what happened? I know exactly what you're talking about because we went on a cruise with my family, and we came back. It was a couple years ago. My dog, we found out how it had a lot of separation anxiety. Chewed the coffee table up.
Yep.
We were gone. Just destroyed the place, and then all of a sudden it's been 2 years, and my dad was like, "All right, we gotta do something."
Yeah.
But it's like like you said, you should have started.
There's the final
Yeah,
straw.
it's usually something extreme. Oh, the dog went through the door,
Yeah.
chewed through my
So-
drywall, or ate my
So
car or
I
something.
get what you're saying.
It's like,
I get what you're saying. I have a question too about, so you've been training for almost 2 decades and getting to America's Top Dog. What was the process on that one? Like when you got there and just all the hours you put in. And can you kind of describe
Yeah, how'd that shit happen?
yeah,
Yeah, how did you hear about it?
So we do a lot of film, and we've been approached for other projects, and I honestly didn't really think it was going to go anywhere. I didn't know it was going to take off. It wasn't one like you applied for it. People kind of reached out to you, and then if you were interested, you applied. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'll do that. And I submitted it after hearing from a couple people, it's a real thing. And then we did a Skype interview, and within a month, they were like, okay, we're going to do background checks. We're going to do all this. We're going to do that. And then we're going to get you out there. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. There was a lot of paperwork. And then, we went out to California, and it was just fast.
Yeah.
Really quick
That's
once
what I was
they
gonna
got on
say.
it.
That's what I figured because something like that is just it's sub top tier. I feel like you put a lot of time in, a lot of effort, and it's personally. I just want to say that's awesome.
Well, thank you. I definitely wouldn't have expected to be doing it with him, but
Yeah,
it was a great opportunity.
Let's talk about Minion and Team Minion. Of course, I have a hoodie that we're gonna actually be grabbing a couple of these for those who are listening to this episode. We're gonna be giving away a few of these. Where can they get those at?
It's
Patriot Canine. Is it your?
Their
I'm not the one
Instagram?
that has it, but there's a page for
Your merch?
all of the merchandise.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll get that linked up and stuff. And then, but yeah, let's talk about him. Like, you went on the show, and I don't want to be controversial, but you're a woman, right? And you're competing against, would you consider, I guess, dog sports being a man sport?
I would say that it is a male-dominated field for sure.
And did you feel like you had something to prove? I mean, is that something that goes through your mind? Or?
In my previous years, in my younger years, absolutely. I'm 4'11". It was always one of those things like, who did she think she is? But
Yeah.
at this point, like I said, I wasn't really ever anticipating going on with something like him, let alone after his paralysis and injury. Like, I really honestly thought we had no chance. I was just going to give it our all and have fun with it and just make the most of it, and really was banking on the opportunity to hopefully inspire people to go out there and do something with their dogs, or not give up on the dogs that they are working with if it maybe doesn't come from quote unquote ideal genetics, and just see that there's fun avenues for everybody. But I didn't think I had anything to prove at all. I was just like, man, we're gonna have a blast, and that's that.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but weren't there only 2 female handlers contestants on the show?
No, there were several female handlers, but there was only 2 in the finale.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
So you're
and-
one of the 2.
Yeah, and I'm the only civilian team to make it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Only
I think
underdog,
I think
right?
that shows a lot of passion and grind from your part.
Yeah.
Kind of being like you said, you didn't know what it was going to do, and just being against the odds, and kind of already being down here, and then just all the work that you put in.
What do you mean by down here? Because
We're the
her
extreme
height?
underdogs.
Well,
Yeah,
not
what are you
because
trying
of
to
her
get
height,
at?
but she said that I had no idea. I didn't know it was going to take off. It's crazy that that's the type of stuff that happens.
Yeah.
It's people that go through this life and they become very successful, and they think that this shit's never going to work. And the next thing you know, they just compound everything that they're doing, and then all of a sudden they're all the way up to the top. So
It reminds me of a thing I read recently, in relation to dog sports. It was one of those quote meme things that said, you earn your titles during practice, you pick up your trophies on the field. But I mean, there's no trophy with necessarily
Absolutely.
with this, but your recognition and all
Yeah,
that.
I completely agree with that. I think that, you need to make the most of every little opportunity. And I feel like that's why a lot of people, because I had shared, it was referral based originally. So I had shared some other names that I respect, that I enjoy seeing, and I respect their work. And I don't know, life got busy. They didn't take it very serious, whatever. They didn't end up going on. But I really think now you can't question it. Like it's a hit now.
So speaking of Minion, what is he? Explain to the audience what type of breed of dog he is and why you end up choosing a dog like his breed. No, he's cool.
So I got him because I love bull breeds in general. I think they're just super derpy and hilarious, and I enjoy them a lot. They're much easier to live with than the herders. And I used to have French bulldogs, and as much as I loved the temperament and even the drive of the French bulldogs, because there's a lot that have drive, but they just couldn't withstand the lifestyle. I just have a very busy, active lifestyle, and just being in the heat, even in an air-conditioned car, if the sun's beating on them, they just didn't do well. And I just knew with the trends, French bulldogs are a big hit right now over the last few years, and a lot of people want to come and approach them. And so I got this breed knowing that we were going to do film work and rescue work and just do lots of family demos and things like that. So I picked him. The breed usually is a little more compact and a little more bully, and they usually have cropped ears, but we kept his ears, and I like his type because there is a lot more function to him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I couldn't have asked for a better dog. I mean, he definitely is a great conversation starter. People come up and want to greet him, and he's great with the kids, and he's still tough.
Yeah, he's unique. I like him. He's cool.
Like his personality last night really came out, just doing his thing. Like he was pretty chill, but man, you had him on autopilot. It seemed like I was really impressed with your ability to control him and just everything that you were able to do with him. Now, when you competed on the show, how does that actually work? For example, are you blind pointed? Like you don't know what the other competitors have done in that event, or what's the behind the scenes?
So behind the scenes, it's madness. It's not like anything that you could really train for. We do a lot to help our dogs generalize and make sure that they give us optimum performance in every new environment, despite the distraction level. But there's just not much that you could have done to prepare for that. I mean, there were moving, little machines with cameras, and there's people running alongside you, and there's an audience, and there's lights and all sorts of stuff going on. So and people telling you, here, come there, and you're you're in a trailer by yourself for a good majority of the time with your dog. So if your dog is not used to being cooped up or not used to being crated or whatever, and then they're hearing all this hustle and bustle, that alone can be stressful for some dogs. And then you go out there and you don't know what the other competitors are looking like and what they're, doing until that first round or whatever it is that you're doing. And then you're done, and then you're sitting on that platform. And on that platform, you get to see it, in almost real time. They got a little monitor there and you're seeing it.
Right.
And, if you guys look carefully, he's sitting there screaming on leash on the platform as he's watching the other teams run. And, there's just a lot of excitement, and, they do a really good job editing out certain things, but it definitely created kind of chaos and confusion. And it's hard to navigate those things in real time. No matter who you are,
Did
law
they
enforcement.
let that there's gonna be scent work, bite work, obstacles,
They let you know kind of the itinerary. This is the schedule of events. You're going to run this round first, and earlier in the day you do get to practice, but it's not for a long period of time, and you don't get to practice in the boneyard. That's the only area that you don't get to touch. So I think even that plays into your ability as a handler to read your dog. What's going to be best. I know him. It was in the middle of the summertime in California. I didn't want to overheat him, and so we only worked on 2 or 3 things.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, did your training, your methods of training switch up, a couple weeks prior before you went in, or did it just kind of stay the same and you?
Not really. Yeah, I'm a very operant dog trainer. I like to see a very just free thinking,
Yeah.
problem solving, confident, outgoing dog. So most of that training has really, really helped us in that regard. But I will say, due to the paralysis, normally I probably would have been, really gearing up on conditioning and making sure that, he was at his absolute peak for the agility side of things, because that was where our biggest concern was, as well as the set stuff. We had a lot of concerns actually, but because of the paralysis, we spent all of our time up to the day of flight, and even in the hotel room, we were still training the scent stuff because I needed to get as much as I possibly could in there for that. But I mean, I was really happy overall. I don't know that I would have changed too terribly much. I definitely would have done probably still more scent work and as much conditioning as I could have with him.
So you win your episode, and all of a sudden, what was the emotions? What was going through your mind after you won?
So again, editing did a whole lot there. I honestly was still sitting on the platform, and I was like, yeah, clapping and cheering, and I'm cheering for him. They told me before he started to run, if at the end it turns this color, you won. If it turns this color, you lost. And I didn't expect much. And again, it's not like I knew my time. I didn't know his time or anything. And so I'm just clapping along, woo. And then it was like a good 20, 30 seconds that I do that. And they're like, Amanda, you won. And I was like, what? And then I just scream. And then that's when you see it aired. Like, that's how it is. But like, I didn't even know. So that was a very genuine response at the end, where she's like, what are you, how do you feel? I'm like, I'm shocked. I don't even know what to say. So it was super cool. Mind blowing.
I love how much you praise him. Like, what I mean? Like, no matter what, like, again, you didn't even know that you won, but like, you wanted to make sure like he felt recognized from you, and that he knew that you felt like he did a good job.
Oh yeah. I always give him love. No, I'm saying I was clapping for the competitor that was going.
Yeah.
Like I was.
You were just happy to be there.
I was just happy to be there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted everyone to do well.
Yeah.
You did get a chance to talk with some of the teams, and majority of my experience with law enforcement has been, they're kind of arrogant, a little egotistical, but that wasn't the experience at all from the people on my episode. I mean, they were very humble, and they were just really good people, and everybody had a story to tell, and it was just a cool experience. I really wanted to see everybody do well, and like I said, I wasn't really expecting much. I just wanted to have fun with them, and that was really cool.
Are there any people from the show that you're like friends with now, or like closer with than before?
I mean, I definitely try and do my part to. I'm terrible with like social media and stuff, but I try and do my part to check in on people, like, hey, how's it going, and give them some love every now and then. So yeah, it definitely formed new relationships. It was a great experience.
Had you met the other Stan prior to last night?
No, never.
Okay.
But since the show, actually, we've been communicating on social media and stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. So what would you say was the biggest takeaway from gaining experience or learning experience from competing at that show?
I'd probably say make the most of every opportunity. Don't. I could have easily gotten discouraged and be like, he's not gonna do that great. Like, why am I bust my ass off? But. And honestly, in like real life, I felt like I was going so much faster than I actually was. So, but that's it. I think everybody really had a good time with it, and I think in terms of preparation, like, we did as much as we possibly could. We gave our all, and hope for the best, and it paid off, and hopefully for the finale,
Yeah, speaking of the finale, that is this Wednesday, right? What's the date on
The
that?
18th.
The 18th. And they can watch it on A&E, right? And
At 9:00,
9 o'clock.
Okay.
we're having a watch party in Georgia for those that are local.
Yeah, the watch party. I believe like the show did a lot better when people anticipated it to be. I think, man, like, I don't know, maybe it's just me and my friends that are on social media. They all just happen to follow it, so it's just kind of like on my timeline all the time. But I just felt like that show got a lot of support.
I think it did from, the pet community, as well as the working dog community. I don't think that people know that we're out there in the masses like that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we're a big community. You know, we've got a lot of people in the industry, whether you're doing agility or you're doing fly ball or dock diving or whatever,
Yeah.
like you're still a part of a canine community. And so naturally we want to see dog sport grow. We want to see participants grow and do well. And
Well, when I think when people see it too, they learn to respect it. You know, that they see how you know, you make it look easy, but at the end of the day, it's really not. And I think people are like, holy shit, like that's crazy that a dog can do this. That's crazy that they go through this, you know. And so, I mean, I think that gained a lot of attention.
I definitely think so. And
Yeah.
if not, you know, there's always a skeptic out there. There's always somebody that's, you know, a critic,
Right.
and that's neither here or there. But I think no matter what, it inspires people to at least go try it. And so even if they think it may be easy, they go and they try something similar, and they're like, oh yeah, it's not as easy.
It's not
as
for
I thought.
everybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
Self-humble.
You know, it's kind of, you know, this whole social media, it's a great tool to educate people, because when back in the day, I would say maybe a decade ago, people would think German Shepherd, police dog only. Like they wouldn't make good house dogs, or, you know. But then again, there's a catch-22 where you have like the movie, was it Max, the movie with the Malinois, and then everybody felt like they should own a Malinois, and they didn't really respect the genetics, and
Absolutely.
it hurts.
Yeah.
But that's where I believe that there has to be more real
Yeah.
out there. So I think platforms, you know, like yours, or, you know, whatever you choose to do with your social media, you know, is either here or there. But I think that more people, more professionals, especially if they're putting more time into educating and making more awareness efforts, I think that's going to help everybody, no matter who you are. So.
And it's going to take time, man. Like it doesn't happen overnight. There's a lot of education that needs to be passed on. I mean, that's what we try to do. We try to bring in the right people to help educate the community, because we're not experts in everything either, you know? So,
Of course, we're always learning.
yeah, you always
We might
got to
not know
stay
the
on.
answer, but we'll find you someone that does.
Yeah, exactly. And what I've learned is, you know, there's so much competition in the dog community, but I've gained so much success in saying, you know what, like, we can work together, you know,
Right, like
versus
collaborate
don't work
versus-
with so and so. Like, I see that happen all the time, and I think that blocks blessings.
Well, I think
so.
it comes full circle, you know, when you surround yourself with people that want to see you win, and you're trying to do the same, and then you're training together, you're giving each other tips and stuff like that. It comes full circle to help you end up being successful.
What,
I mean,
what would you consider, since you've been in the game for so long, what would you consider is one of the Achilles heels that holds dog sports back from growing, or trainers working together and stuff like that? Like, what would be the Achilles heel on that?
the lack of understanding and quality communication.
Yeah.
You know, what we fail to realize is we're pointing out all of our differences and why this or that is wrong, or your way is better, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, you know, we all want the same thing, which is the results for the dog and the results for the family. So whatever that goal may be, like, even if you may not agree with it, like, open your ears, listen, try and empathize a little bit, understand. And, you know, from there, you can agree to disagree or whatever.
Right.
But I think we should always focus on our, you know, our common interests
Yeah.
and our common desires
Goals.
and unite on those things versus constantly divide ourselves up even, you know, further than what everybody always tries to do.
Yeah, you know, one thing I've learned a lot in the past couple of years is that I don't have to always be right. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Everybody's more focused on, it seems like not everybody, but majority of the people on social media, even if they're wrong, it's just like, I don't care if I'm wrong. Let me just prove that I'm right.
Yeah.
Instead of just listening. And when we grew this company, a lot of it is me listening to Gomi, or me listening to Logan, or me listening to Sabrina, or anybody else that's worked here. That's what really helped this brand grow, because a lot of people have a lot of great knowledge and insight, and you can learn from a lot of different people. But it's one of those things where it's just going to take time, and we just got to keep pushing the envelope. And but speaking of sports, you know, they canceled all the sporting events due to the coronavirus and
Yeah.
everything. Is that happening across the board with dog sports and shows?
I mean, I've seen a lot of like memes and jokes like you and I were
Yeah.
talking about with, like, you know, the full,
hazmat
full
suit on the
body
dog.
mask and the dog on the, yeah. But I've seen events still taking place. I don't know if that will change in the near future, but as of now, it seems like they're more or less just encouraging people to just take more precaution, stay further away from people, which for dog people, that's not super hard.
Right.
And they're trying to discourage a lot of spectators and have more than what they need to have there, as opposed to other events they would probably be promoting and trying to get as much spectatorship as possible and participation.
Yeah. Now, Logan's got a new pup. His name's Scuddy.
Yep.
He's 8 weeks
Super
old.
cute.
What would
So
be,
chill.
let's say, give him one super valuable tip that you would provide him as a new dog owner, that if he was to bring his dog to Patriot Canine, that you would definitely say he needs to work on? Or you could give him any type of advice.
What we strive for with anybody, no matter who you are, what your goal is relationship.
Okay.
Have a solid relationship. Make sure the dog adores you, adores having that time with you, but that it's a purpose-driven interaction.
Gotcha.
So every interaction should have some benefit to it, and usually an inherently gratifying thing. So whether
Okay.
that's eating, playing, drinking, we try and maximize those efforts and you making the most of that interaction and using good engagement and building really strong relationships.
Gotcha. Okay.
What would you say one of the biggest mistakes that new dog owners come to you with, as far as just like, because some people have good intentions. They think they're loving the dog. They think they're doing the dog. They kind of humanize the dog,
Yeah.
right?
Too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. The dog's there
Yeah.
as a kind of an accessory to their lifestyle that they just allow it to just exist.
Do whatever.
That they don't take they're not very proactive in guiding or teaching the dog. It's always when the dog is doing something inappropriate. Hey, stop that. Hey, cut that out. Hey, Fifi, look this way or whatever.
Yeah.
Then that's when, the problems arise. I think more people should be taking the approach of, my dog has a need. I'm going to fulfill it first. And then I can go about doing other things. Or if I'm going to be here and we're going to coexist and I can't maybe direct or guide and mold your interaction accordingly, I can at least find other things that will appease you. Like there's obviously cords and all sorts of stuff and,
Yeah.
things that puppies can get into, but you guys have toys, you guys have a bed, you guys have things that that the dog can satisfy itself during that time frame. So that's helpful. A lot of people don't even do that. It's chewing on their cabinet and I'm like, well, are there toys present? Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't think to do that. So little things like that make a big difference.
Just always interacting. Always making sure that you're on top of, what needs to be done.
It's
Just like
that-
children. I mean, they're constantly taking in all this stimulus and all of this information that the world is providing to them. So they're always learning. It's up to us whether, what they get from that is a positive thing or a negative thing.
Yeah. Positive teaching. Just constantly. Consistency.
Yep,
That's-
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a lifestyle.
Yeah. It's definitely going to be fun. It's going to be a fun, challenging time that,
He's
because
cute.
it's like, I'm 20. It feels like I have a kid.
Yeah.
Feels like I
24/7,
Feels
yep.
like I just got, I just had
a
a kid.
He's a chill dog, man.
He's
I,
very
mean, I was
chill.
expecting
Yeah.
like a whiny dog on the ride home, and he's just been
Yeah.
awesome. He's been chill.
Yeah, he's very
That's
chill.
good.
Yeah, he's.
I didn't
he's
even
awesome.
notice him in
That's why I
here
love the
earlier.
bullies. They're like, they're good dogs.
Yeah, he's. People already think that he's like the little mountain lion. Yeah.
It's going to be big.
Yeah, his
So-
coloring's legit.
Before we go, where can they find you? Where can the audience find you as far as like on social media?
We have Facebook. We have Instagram. I have a Twitter now.
Is it at Patriot Canine?
It's Patriot, at Patriot_K9.
Okay. And you guys have a Facebook page as well, like a
Yeah.
business page, and now you're on Twitter.
I'm trying to do the Twitter thing. I will not
Is
get
that
a
big?
TikTok.
Is that big on the dog community? Well, here's the deal.
I think so.
Don't avoid TikTok because
Yeah.
you want me to tell you why? Because you can attach your Instagram to it, and the algorithms on Instagram are really tough right now. Unless
Yeah.
you're like paying, even if you're paying for ads,
Yeah.
it's really tough to grow your account. And if you actually add TikTok and then add Instagram to it, you can drive a lot of.
Oh, I
audience
believe
over
it.
there.
I'm a technotard. I'm working to learn some things. I'm hopefully getting a website up in the next week. We've been a referral based business for a while, and I mean,
Well, that's good, though.
It's been great. We feel very fortunate and blessed, but it's definitely time to make some changes and
Yeah.
try to broaden our spectrum a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you, I mean, what's your, I guess, how do you feel about online training as far as like that goes, you know? Your honest perspective on
There
it.
is a lot of desire for it.
Mm-hmm.
However, I feel like it takes away the accountability. I feel like a lot of dog owners already struggle to make the time commitment to actually train their dog, to travel to someone, to have the eyes on them, to make those real time adjustments to their handling
'Cause
and
timing
their
is
delivery.
everything, right?
It really is. And I mean, it's just their reward procedure, their communication, their mixed cues that they're giving from their, from their verbal to their body language, little things like that, that you may not convey as well in an online class.
You know, I think one of the, I don't know who fucking started this whole thing, but you know, your dog had an accident in the house, stuffed his fucking face in it.
Yeah.
What is that, like 30-year-old, 40-year-old
Yeah,
thing?
I don't know. It's,
Who started that
I
shit?
don't know.
I don't know.
Was it your dad?
Shit, probably. Might have been. I don't
But
know.
yeah, timing is like I've just even watching Derek up here and stuff like that, and how he works with like I always pick up some things as far as just the timing is very, very, very important when it comes to that. But well, I mean, this is another great episode. We appreciate your time coming down
thank
here.
you. Appreciate it.
Is there anything else that you want to tell the audience what they can expect maybe from the finale or?
You're gonna
tuned.
just
This will air on
I
Sunday.
changed my approach. It's going to be entertaining.
Yeah. Cool. Well, guys, thank you again, man, for tuning in. Again, you know, she's volunteering her time to offer you guys a bunch of value. We're volunteering our time. And, man, if you could just do us a solid back, because we'd love to keep this stuff going by just, you know, liking, sharing, leaving us an amazing review. That would be greatly appreciated. Again, Amanda, thank you for your time. Remember, it's at Patriot_K9 on all our handles. Stay tuned. We will be giving a few of these merchandises away. We're going to invest in them. And then when you listen to this episode, I think we'll probably grab like maybe like 5 hoodies or 5 shirts. And then one of those shirts is going to have a ticket to where you can win a $100 gift certificate to XDOG.com. And it's going to be a fun little thing. But again, guys, thank you for your support as always. Team XDOG Strong.